Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai.
And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee.
Because all the blessings that we're going to get, which is entailing the kingdom of heaven, Isaiah the 60th chapter, I'm going to start at the 10th verse and read on down. It says, and the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. So the sons of strangers, that's talking about the actual strangers, the other nations, shall build up thy walls. We're going to have them in slavery. So they're going to be building the kingdom of heaven, because we're not building nothing. We're not lifting a hand to move nothing. It says, for in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually, they shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles. That's talking about the actual Gentiles. We're going to take all of their substance, and that their kings may be brought.
And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee.
Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai.
For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish, yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. Verse 13. And the glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, the box together to beautify the place of my sanctuary, and I will make the place of my feet glorious. So the land of Israel, the land of Jerusalem, is going to be made glorious. It's going to be made glorious once again. The kingdom is going to be built up. We had a taste of that during the time of Solomon's reign, which was for about 40 years. Verse 14, the sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee, and they that despise thee shall bow themselves down at the sole of thy feet. And they shall call thee the city of the Lord. The word Zion means monument, the monument of the Holy One of Israel. Whereas thou hast been forsaken and hated, so that no man went through thee, I will make thee an eternal excellency, a joy of many generations. Thou shalt also suck the milk of the Gentiles, and shalt suck the breasts of kings, meaning we're going to take all their substance. And thou shalt know that I am the Lord thy power, the Lord and thy Savior and thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. For brass I will bring thee gold, and for iron I will bring thee silver, and for wood brass, and for stones iron. And I will make thy officers peace, and thine exactors righteousness. Violence shall no more be heard in thy land, wasting nor destruction within thy borders, but thou shalt call thy walls salvation and thy gates praise. The sun shall no more thy light by day, neither for brightness shall the moon give light unto thee, but the Lord shall be unto thee an everlasting light, and the power thy glory. The sun shall no more go down, meaning our kingdom is not going to go down. In other words, once we get back in power, we're going to be in power forever. The sun is never going to go down on our kingdom again. The sun is never going to set on our kingdom. We're going to always shine, and we're going to always be in that glory once we get into the kingdom of heaven. There's no more going back into slavery under the other nations. Esau's not going to rise back up and put us in captivity. Ham, Japheth, Ishmael, none of the other nations are going to rise up and take us down ever again. When we get on top this time, we're going to remain on top. Neither shall thy moon withdraw itself, for the Lord shall be thine everlasting light, and the days of thy mourning shall be ended. So no more mourning, no more crying, no more vexation of spirit, no more weeping, no more hopelessness because of the condition that we're in as Israelites right now. Verse 21, thy people also shall be all righteous, they shall inherit the land forever. The branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. Verse 22, a little one shall become 1,000. This is in the kingdom. So what is this talking about? We're going to have sex. Again, like I said, the 2/3 that are going to pass in this destruction, the 2/3 are going to come back through the 1/3 that make it. The Lord said, 2/3 shall be cut off and die, and the third will I bring through the fire. It says, a little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in his time.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders, GMS, who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word and truth and sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners, whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Shai. All right. And what I want to get into today, this morning, dealing with this morning news and prophecy, is this term called useless society. All right. And this term was coined by this devil, Noah Yuval Harari. Okay. Which this is a damn small hat, right? He's a Mo, he's a big, supporter, okay, of transhumanism. All right, he boasts in the AI, and he looks at people as useless, and he's the mouthpiece of, these think tanks, okay, and these elite families and how they really feel about, people, about life, man. Okay, the planet Earth is under, the rulership, okay, of a nation of people that don't value life. Okay, these people don't see value in life. Okay, that's why they have a society, okay, that's saturated with death, okay, and violence, okay, and chaos. You see, this devil, he infuses death into everything that he possibly can, So we're living under the rulership of a man that's anti-life, okay, and as he has had breakthrough, with this AI technology, he's constantly developing his AI. Well, his goal is to replace as many people as possible, okay, and the remainder of the people, he wants to merge with this technology for more control, so he can have more control, but he's going to promise merging with technology at this upgrade, okay, as the scriptures speak about his lying wonders. You see, so he's going to present the merger with this technology as some upgrade, okay, but the whole purpose of the technology is more control. That's what it's about, complete control. It has nothing to do enhancing your abilities as a human, okay? It's all control, you see? And what this devil is doing, with this technology, he's finding ways to replace as many people as possible, man. Okay, now I got a few precepts I want to get into. Let's go here first. This the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 10, and verse 6. It says, "Woe to thee, O land, when thy king is a child and thy princes eat in the morning." So woe to thee, O land. Okay, woe to thee, O land. And that main landmass is here in America, man. But the earth in general, the planet Earth, all right, is under the authority of the wicked. The scriptures say the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So the planet Earth is given into the hand of Esau Edom. Okay, and he's like a child. He's very immature. What he's doing is extremely immature. Okay, what he's doing to life in the earth, what he's doing to the creation, what he's doing to people, this is extremely irresponsible, man. Okay, so you have a child with all this authority. You have a man that has a childlike mentality that's in authority, man. It says, "And thy princes eat in the morning, okay? Which means that he only cares about himself, okay? Because in the morning, all right, the nobles will handle their most serious affairs when it came to issues of the realm, okay? Putting the affairs of the people before themselves, man, okay? But this devil, all right, this nigga rulership is just based on pleasing himself, okay? The only purpose of Esau's rulership is to please himself, okay? With wealth, with power, and stroking his ego with his God complex, man. That's the purpose of this man's rulership. Okay, it's all about pleasing himself, man. Okay, and with this technology, this is another level of this man ever being able to please himself, man, which is give him complete control over humanity, man. Okay, complete control over resources. Okay, and he can really, uh, uh he wants to be the Most High. That's his desire. Okay, so this technology is AI. Okay, then this micro technology, the C-HIP. Okay, these data centers, all they play into this man, wanting to be the Most High in the earth, man. Through technology. So everything that the devil does is for his own personal desire. Okay, it has nothing to do, all right, with being a righteous ruler over the people. It has nothing to do with, all right, putting the people of the earth in the best position possible, man. Because this nigga has the one thing about it, this nigga has the wealth and the resources and the technology to put people in an excellent position, man. But he does the exact opposite, man. He puts people in a terrible position, man. Okay? And he creates this dependency, he creates dependency on him. Okay. Let's go here real quick. Let's get this in the GNT. He creates this dependency on himself. Okay, where the masses are dependent on him just so he can be wicked. This nigga creates this great dependency on him just so people can be wicked, man. I mean, just so he can be wicked, just so he can have control, just so he can play as if he's the Most High. Okay, so when you go to Sirach 10:1, it says a wise ruler will educate his people, and his government will be orderly, man. All right, and this is the exact opposite condition of the planet Earth under Esau. Okay, where the world, all right, is dumbed down and chaotic. A wise ruler will educate his people, and his government will be orderly. Okay, but this devil is the exact opposite, man. Okay, with this devil, people are dumbed down. What you have this term called cognitive diminishment. Okay, where basic critical thinking and functioning skills are being diminished in people through this technology, man. Okay, so this man is dumbing people down, okay, and creating just more and more chaos and dysfunction. It says all the officials and all the citizens will be like their ruler. Okay, so you see a planet Earth, of people, that have this God complex. Okay, you see the society is full of people, that's always trying to manipulate. Okay, you see a society of people, okay, that that are rebellious against the Most High. Okay, they mock and scoff at righteousness. Okay, this is the results of an Edomite rulership. People praise technology but mock the Most High. Okay, and that's why a lot of people, all right, are going to be taken by what this devil is going to present, because he's already conditioned people to worship his science and his technology above the Most High. Okay, verse 3 says, and this is in the GNT, Sirach 10:3 in the GNT. It says, an uneducated king will ruin his people, but a government will grow strong if its rulers are wise. Okay, a government will grow strong if its rulers are wise. You see? So this devil, he's an uneducated king, and he boasts himself in his IQ and his technology and how innovative he is, and what the Edomite race has done for society, how much they've progressed and innovated society. Okay, But then you look at the results. The report card of a man's rulership is okay. His people. Okay, the society itself. That's the report card of a man's kingdom. Okay, is his subjects. Okay, that's how you grade the ruler, by looking at the conditions of the earth, the society, the atmosphere. You see? So by grading the atmosphere, the people, all right, the environment, okay, and you look out into society, okay, you see how demonic, how dark, okay, how conniving, how cutthroat, how manipulative society is. Well, you got to look at the rulers. They set the precedent, all right, because the rulers set the precedent for everyone else, man. You see, the rulers set the tone for everyone else. Okay, so when you look at society and you look at this, man, you look at society, you look at people. Well, you're looking at a reflection of the rulers, man. Okay, a very anti-Messiah, okay, chaotic, violent society, man. Okay, and then the people are tapped in, to witchcraft, the dark magic. Okay, and people are in love with this man's technology, man. There's a lot of people that's gonna, that's gonna voluntarily, all right, merge with this machinery. Okay, with this man's tech. Okay, so when you go from there, let's go here. Let's go back here. And then I got a couple of videos I want to get into dealing with this useless society, because there's an actual term, that these devils use. Okay, is a useless society. Okay, but when you go here, this man has a term called post-human. Okay, this man has a term called post-human society, man. Okay. This is Proverbs 14 and 28. I'm going to read the NLT as well. It says, in the multitude of the people is the king's honor, but in the want of people is the destruction of a prince. Okay, and you read this in, all right, the NLT, Proverbs 14 and 28 in the NLT. All right, Proverbs 14 and 28 NLT. Oh, yeah. Yep. It says a growing population is a king's glory. You see, a growing population, because going back into a king's report card is his people, the people that he's ruling over. That's how you grade the king. Okay. And the people are going to reflect, you see, the character of the king. Okay. So a growing population is a king's glory. A prince without subjects has nothing, man. Okay. And the more that this devil increases in his technology, he looking at people as less and less value, man. And he's created people to be useless, man. Okay. Because people, all right, have adapted to just being and it's going to go into, this devil's so wicked, man. This man created people to be useless because he took people out of their natural element, man, and put them in this, what you call a commercial industrial environment, man. Okay. And that's not natural. Okay. Now, there's nothing wrong with industry. Okay. But to have the majority of the population, okay, be a cog in his industrial commercial, okay, um, society, that's off balance. And that's why there's a great dependency on this nigga, because people now can only make a living by serving him and his corporation. Okay. I looked it up earlier in the early 1900s, 40% of the American population, okay, survived off agriculture, which means they had family farms. They were self-sufficient. Okay. But you fast forward to now, only 2% of the American population, okay, are farmers. The other 98% depend, okay, on what, man? This commercial industrial industry, man. That's why it's so much emphasis on degrees and, you know, these certain jobs and these certain skills that only for his agenda. Okay. But if you had, you know, because it doesn't take much for a family, all right, to live on. You know, a family of 5 or 6 can easily live on 2 acres, man, with a few livestock, a few vegetation, men with the skill set to build, women, you know, with the skill set to homestead, easily. That's why they were so big. The families were so big back then, and children were assets because their labor, okay, was an asset to the land, okay, and then they will grow into something that they can inherit. Okay, you didn't have to depend on the government, all right, for for all your essentials. Okay, but this man has created an environment to where a majority of the people depend on the government for everything, man. Okay, and it was all a scam. You know, now that he's advancing his AI, those same people that he tricked off, you know, the forms, and he tricked people from being self-sufficient and gave them convenience. Okay, he tricked them from being self-sufficient and gave them convenience, which made them dependent on him. Now those same people he's saying are useless. Okay, and when he said you're useless to what he got going forward. Okay, so let's go. I got 2 videos I want to get into. All right, let's get this. Let's get this one first. Play a little bit of this one, and then the second one really gonna get into it. All right, but it says 1,000,000 jobs vanish. All right, the Great Core. Okay, so let's play this.
Historian Yuval Noah Harari coined a term a few years ago, and it had people kind of terrified. The term was the useless class. Now, he didn't say that to be mean. He used that to describe a group of people that are unemployable. And by unemployable, I mean that the system, the economic system, no longer needs them, needs their labor to function. And though he coined that term a few years ago, that is no longer a prediction, that is reality. If you look at the raw data that came out in December in the United States, there were 1 million more people looking for work than there were jobs available to those people. 1 million. It means for the first time in a decade, the math had flipped and all the power had transferred from the employee to the employer. And that's just the official number. That has no account. That doesn't take in the amount of people who just completely checked out of the workforce, those who've been without a job for so long that they've given up, that they no longer want to try to participate in a system that's really just kind of broken them. And that's where the great refusal really comes in. Now, the average number of applications that actually go to a corporate job posting on websites like ZipRecruiter are about 300 to 500. That means that every time that you apply for a job, you are competing with 300 to 500 other people. Now, how many of them are AI? That's a different story. But the thing is, the whole process has gotten so ridiculous, so undignified, and so belittling that you have people going through 8 rounds of interviews, spanning over months just to get ghosted and not given any response. But for most people, when you do put in an application, you might as well get a scratch-off lottery ticket. You have a better odds of winning, literally, on a scratch-off ticket. But why is that? It's because half the jobs aren't even real. They're just ghost jobs. Companies post them just to look like they're growing on Wall Street, or companies use it to harvest data. Knowing that America is going through a job crisis right now, corporations are still capitalizing on the desperation of the working class. Most have already announced that at the end of 2025, going into 2026, most of these companies aren't actually interested in hiring people. Or if they are, AI is filtering out these resumes before a set of human eyes actually gets a chance to look at them. So if you don't have the exact keyword density, you're deleted. You're not even invisible. So what happens when you have a generation? I mean, people who are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and even in their 50s at this point, who realize that the game is rigged. Again, that's a great refusal. That's what's happening in America right now. It's not that they won't work. It's not that the incentive to work is gone. But the old deal was, you work for us for 40 hours a week, you're going to get a house, you're going to get a car, you're going to get a dog, maybe you're going to get a family, you're going to have a life. The new deal is, you give us 40 hours a week of your life. We're going to give you enough to pay for rent of a room in a shared apartment with 3 other people. You're not going to be able to afford a car. And we're going to fire you at some point via a Zoom call just because the algorithm told us that we can save 4% on our quarterly earnings. If 40 hours a week, working 40 hours a week still leaves you in poverty, the question is, why work? Like I said, it's not laziness, it's efficiency. Now to my friends in Toronto, Sydney, and London, yes, you have a housing.
So you have, these jobs, where these companies where jobs are disappearing because AI is fully taking over. Okay, and as AI is taking over different sectors of the job market, the people that work those jobs are becoming what they call a useless society. All right, and this is why he has a major depopulation agenda on the books with his New World Order. Okay, because the devil, he wants to run the earth through technology, man. Okay, and the few people left will be merged with the technology. Okay, for full control. You see? So what this devil is doing, man, he's setting the stage, okay, to get rid of a lot of people, man. He's constantly merging AI into the job market, replacing certain jobs, and people are training the AI. That's why this whole work from home was a big thing, because it trained AI how to do all these different jobs, man. Because you're, talking, through this device, and the AI just getting all the data. Okay. So people have been training this AI, for a long time, especially since 2020. And this is why we're seeing AI begin to replace a lot of the job market. And this is what these devils want to do. Okay. So now you're useless. Your value stops when you serve him no purpose. Okay. When your labor doesn't enrich him, when AI, is a better option to enrich himself, you're useless now. Okay. So when AI becomes a better option to enrich himself, okay, you are useless now. Okay. He hyped you up. He hyped, the high value man with this certain type of job and this certain network and this and that. Guess what? If AI can replace your ass, you're useless now. He hyped the woman up to be independent and, to be progressive and liberal. Guess what? When AI replaces your job, you're useless. Okay. This is what this devil is doing.
Crisis.
Now,
yes, you have.
I got another video, and this goes a little deeper into it. That shows how all these things was a scam. It shows how this whole college, and it was all a scam. All right, and it created a dependency, man. Okay, because you go into what he calls education. He educates you to be a servant for him. Okay, this society doesn't teach people self-sufficient skills. It teaches you to be a servant for him. All right, the elites run the school curriculums. They run the colleges. Okay, because these colleges, all right, basic school, all right, is for you to be a factory worker. All right, you learn the basic skills needed to work in factories, all right, or these corporations or these plants, all right, with the basic schooling in America. You see, you're getting indoctrinated to obey, okay? Bells, okay? You're being indoctrinated. That's why it's full of bells, okay? You got a lunch schedule Monday through Friday, okay? Morning to the evening. You see, you're being indoctrinated for the workforce in school. College, okay, is for the people that's going to what? Be in the middle management of the workforce, okay, or get special skill training for these special corporate jobs, okay, and the highest thinkers, okay, go to these think tanks, the summa cum laude and whatever these high All right, think these what you call these brilliant minds. Okay, they're being used for what? These think tanks. Okay, the tech. Okay, development. You see, the engineering of the technology. Okay, and it all benefits him. Nothing benefits you directly. He gives you, all right, a currency. Okay, that he can devalue, or he can destroy the currency, man. Which he's getting ready to collapse the currency, so you can switch over to a digital currency, man. Okay, but this society, especially here in America, it taught you to be everything but self-sufficient. So you have all these different skills, but these skills only make you valuable as long as you're valuable to him. Okay? Once you stop being valuable to him, you have no value. You're useless now. Okay? This is the damn devil. You see? Him giving you $150,000 a year isn't him valuing you. He knows you need to survive to continue to be useful to him. That's why when you stop being useful, all that goes away. Okay, when those jobs disappear, they don't come back. Okay, and now you're left with no skills of being self-sufficient. You see, and being self-sufficient ain't the answer to, all right, the situation we in. Okay, and if you can do it, it's cool. It's good to be as self-sufficient as possible. That's not the answer. Okay, the answer is Yahweh Shai coming back. Okay, and setting up a righteous rulership, which we'll get into that. But let's play this next video, man. It really shows you, all right, that these devils did a number on this society, man. Okay, let's play this.
The Industrial Revolution was a traumatic event for the human species. It took the physical strength of men, the ability to plow a field, hammer a nail, lift a stone, and it rendered it secondary to the machine. The steam engine, the tractor, and the assembly line crushed the artisan and the laborer. But we adapted. We moved from the fields to the factories, and then from the factories to the offices. We traded muscle for brain. We told ourselves that machines could do the heavy lifting, but the human mind, creativity, logic, analysis, was sacred. That was our moat. Today, in the dying days of 2025, that moat is dry. The AI revolution is not like the Industrial Revolution. It is not replacing human muscle. It is replacing human cognition. And we are terrifyingly unprepared for what comes next. We are staring at the birth of what historian Yuval Noah Harari politely calls the useless class. This is not an insult. It is a cold, clinical, economic classification. For all of human history, labor was the scarcity. You needed people. You needed them to fight wars, to harvest crops, to file paperwork, to manage logistics. People had inherent value because the system could not function without them. Even the lowest peasant was a necessary cog in the machine. But what happens to the economy when 50% of the population has zero economic value? What happens when an artificial intelligence agent can code software, write legal briefs, analyze medical scans, manage complex supply chains, and create art better, faster, and infinitely cheaper than any human being? You are seeing the early tremors right now, though the media tries to hide it under the rug of corporate restructuring. The layoffs in big tech, in media, in finance, these aren't temporary cyclical downturns. They are permanent replacements. The white-collar worker is the new horse in 1910. The automobile is rolling off the assembly line, and the horse is looking around thinking it will just get a different job. It won't. The horse is headed to the glue factory. Consider the lawyer. For decades, law was a path to wealth. It required memorization, logic, and the ability to parse complex language. and AI can now draft the entire legal code of the United States, every case precedent from 1776 to today, and draft a perfect contract in 3 seconds for a cost of 1 cent. Why would a firm hire a junior associate for $150,000 a year to do what a server does for free? Consider the coder, the backbone of the digital economy. We told an entire generation to learn to code. It was the golden ticket. Now, AI writes code. It debugs code. It refactors legacy systems. The entry-level programmer is obsolete.
So for a decade or so, code, learn the code, job security, code. Okay, so here it is, spent tens of thousands of dollars getting student loans, okay, to learn how to code. You built your life around code. But the moment AI figures it out, useless. Okay? You're useless now. You're obsolete now. Okay? This man created a society where people depend too much on the government and corporation. Okay? This man has removed self-sufficiency from majority of society, man. And that's what gives this nigga the most leverage, man. People traded self-sufficiency for technology, okay, and convenience. It was his technology and his convenience. All right, because why? You was useful to him, okay, in enriching himself. Okay. But now when that dynamic of you enriching him disappears, now you're useless. Now you should be done away with. Okay. Play some more.
Entire generation to learn to code. It was the golden ticket. Now, AI writes code. It debugs code. It refactors legacy systems. The entry-level programmer is obsolete. The mid-level programmer is a babysitter for AI. The expert is the only one left standing, and even he is looking over his shoulder. The elites, the Davos crowd, the Silicon Valley billionaires, they know this. They discuss it in private rooms while you worry about sports scores. Why do you think they are pushing so aggressively for universal basic income, UBI? Do you think the people who extract every penny of profit from the world suddenly developed a conscience? Do you think they want to give you free money out of the goodness of their hearts? No, they are scared. They know that millions of young, unemployed, angry men with no purpose and no economic future are the most dangerous force on earth. History teaches that this demographic burns down palaces and guillotines kings. UBI is not charity. It is hush money. It is a digital opiate. It is a bribe to keep you quiet, fed, and distracted. While the
and UBI is only going to be for those that survive, all right, the colon, because he plans to depopulate. Okay, he doesn't plan to give UBI, all right, to billions of people. Okay, remember they want to keep the population of 500 million. He only plans to give UBI to a few 100 million people. Okay, and he just needs them for some type of human factor in this society, man. Okay, because he still needs, great thinkers. Okay, then hey, this devil here, man, he just really like to freak off as well, man. This nigga, man, if this nigga was able to just fully establish his new world order and live in it for a few years, man, this would be some dark, demonic, wickedness that this devil would be doing, man. Okay, because he could for sure, because he goes unchecked with a lot of things now. Okay, but his new world order, he would for sure be unleashed to be super wicked, man, and dark. Okay, so this whole UBI, it sounds like this, okay, I get paid, AI do the work, I can kick it, I can, that's what he's selling it like it's going to be this technological utopia for the masses. Nah, man. Okay, UBI will be just enough to keep, the few people alive that remains, okay, of the depopulation, okay, and the transition from what they call a post-human society, man. Okay, transition into a post-human society. So let's play this.
AI owners capture 99% of the world's wealth. It doesn't lift you up, it parks you. You will own nothing and you will be happy. That is the motto of the useless class. You will sit in your pod, wear your VR headset to escape the bleak reality of your small apartment, eat your subsidized processed food, and consume AI-generated content tailored to keep your dopamine levels high and your ambition low. You won't be a citizen. You'll be managed like a subscription, a domesticated animal kept by the silicon gods because it is cheaper to feed you than to fight you. But there is a split happening, a bifurcation of the species. There will be two classes of people in 2026. One, those who are told what to do by algorithms, the useless. Two, those who tell the algorithms what to do, the sovereign. If your job involves sitting at a computer and processing information, you are in the blast zone. If your output is digital, it can be replicated. If your job follows a script, the script will be automated. The laptop class is dying. The Zoom meeting is a funeral rite. You're not collaborating, you're rehearsing your own redundancy. If you stay where you are, the algorithm will own you. If you move, you have a shot at owning the algorithm, or at least owning a wrench when the algorithm breaks. So where is the sanctuary? Where can you hide from the God in the machine? The sanctuary is in the physical and the human, the plumber, the electrician.
And the sanctuary is in Yahweh Bashim Al Shah. All right. That's the only sanctuary, because the devil has so much wickedness that he's getting ready to do. Okay. Now being able to, all right, do hands-on work. Okay. Like I say, being self-sufficient. You know, men that have actual skills, women that have actual skills. Because think about it. No, you see, this man creates this rat race for people to get these degrees and chase these salaries. Okay. Then you get this convenience of, you know, you get this high salary. Well, you get to live this soft, convenient city life. Okay. But then when you have skills, okay, you can make your land, all right, the land that you want. If because that's another thing. People would rather have a sky-rise condo in Manhattan with a sports car, okay, than to have 3 or 4 acres of land. Okay, because the city does the upkeep for you. You see, you have a whole industry that does your upkeep. See, this devil gets you people to outsource everything to where all you got to do is just work for him and kick it. That was the whole trap. Just work for me and kick it. You see, but it took self-sufficiency from people, man. Because and it's just a scenario. The solution is Yahweh Shai coming back, but just showing you to how, you know, if you would just think about it. If you was a man, you have your own land, you have farm animals, you have agriculture, you know how to mill your own wood on your land, because your land keep growing wood. So you know how to build, okay, infrastructure, okay. You know how to manage your food supply, okay, to where you don't have to go and work for anybody, because all your needs, all your essentials, you don't have a mortgage because you know how to build houses. Okay, you don't have to worry about the grocery store. The grocery store is your yard. Okay, you have to go to this man's hospital. You know the herbs. Okay, the woman, she knows the herbs. You see, and as a woman, you're helping this man maintain the homestead. You don't have to worry about being fired from this job and that job. Okay, because one thing about it, everybody was guaranteed to be a man was supposed to be guaranteed to be a father and a husband. A woman is supposed to guaranteed to be what? A mother and a wife. Okay, those things are irreplaceable. You see, but when you go and merge, when people began to become, all right, corporate slaves to this nigga corporation and the government, now you at his mercy. Okay, but if you're just a stay-at-home woman that's maintaining the property, helping your husband maintain the estate, you don't have to worry about being fired. Who's gonna fire you? You know, you're his wife, you're the mother. You don't get fired from that. You see, you're a man, you have your own estates, you know how to work the land, you got the skill of the lands. Who gonna fire you from that? Okay, you don't need his industry. You wouldn't even need a bunch of his money like that. Okay, when you own things, you don't need his money like that. Money, that's why money comes in and goes out, because the money is basically you get paid from a corporation to pay corporations. When you look at how this thing works, man, you get paid from corporations to pay other corporations. Because most people are working for free. When you do the math, most people are working for free. Okay? So when you look at how the devil set this wicked scam of society up, man, you know, this devil set up a society to where he can create a replacement worker for you, and now you're useless. And nobody has skills to be self-sufficient. So everybody's dependent on this nigga, man. You see? And the only solution is Yahushua coming back, you know, because we're not in a position where we're going to, you know, homestead our way out of this, man. You know, if you can, you know, do your own thing, there's nothing wrong with it. You know, if you can, you know, become self-sufficient in any capacity, hey, that's a great thing. But the answer is Yahushua coming back, man. And we're just showing how wicked this society is, man. Okay, how much of a scam this society is and that this man has established, man. Okay, so let's go from here. Let's get a few precepts. Okay, and I'll leave this in the put this video in the comment board in case a brother want to get down on it. All right, you won't have to see you wouldn't need to send your children to college if they had an inheritance. Okay, if they had true resources to inherit, you won't have to send them to no damn college. Okay, your son knew how to go out back, cut down trees, mill the wood, and build a house from scratch. Okay, he wouldn't need to go to nobody's college. He would need to go get a loan. Okay, you wouldn't have to go get a loan from the bank to own the house. You would just clear out some land. Okay, and boom. You see? But this nigga, he destroyed that setup and created this industrial commercial, okay, society to where your value is based on what you can contribute, okay, to enriching him. Okay, your ability to enrich him. That's what people's value come from in this society. You know, yeah. Let's go here. Let's go back to the book of Sirach and the GNT. This is the book of Sirach and the GNT, chapter 10, verse 4. It says, "The Lord sees to the government of the world and brings the right person to power at the right time," and it's gonna be Yahushua. Okay, Yahushua is finna be brought to power, man, because this is a hot goddamn mess that this nigga done started in the earth, man. You know, and his new agenda going forward is a terrible idea. This is the worst idea ever in the earth that this nigga is trying to do, man. This is terrible. And Esau don't understand the ripple effects because he's a child. Going back to he's a child. This nigga don't understand the ripple effects of the wickedness that, you know, certain things he got factored in, but there's a lot of things he don't. This nigga ain't got everything figured out and everything all together like he pushing the movies, man. This nigga be doing a lot of guessing. You know, he's able to be ahead, and you know, he's been tapped in on the left hand. So he was receiving this counsel from the demons that kept him, you know, ahead of the game. Okay, but if the Lord is pulling back that left hand from this nigga, man, and we're seeing the authentic Edomite, okay, in his raw form, man, this nigga do not got it, man. Okay, but the Lord is finna replace this nigga completely. Okay, let's jump down to verse 8. It says, "Injustice, okay, arrogance, And wealth causes nations to fall from power. And this nigga is guilty of all this, man. Injustice, arrogance, because his wealth was getting through ill-gotten gains, through corruption, through wickedness. This nigga got wealth by destroying other people, extorting other people, extorting the labor of the masses. All right, he has enriched himself, man. You know, this society has chewed people up and spit them out. Now they call them useless. Okay? All our life we heard go to school, go to college, get your education, get this, get that. Now guess what? That's useless now. We on to something else. Okay? This is a very wicked kingdom that this man runs, man. Okay, it says, and others then rise to take their place. And the others is the elect of Israel, man. The elect of Israel are rising to take this nigga place, man. This is what we're a part of, brothers. You know, the Lord is getting his sons together. That's why the Lord is getting us together in these latter days, man. Okay? The earth needs righteous rulership. If a brother can post that, Wisdom of Solomon 6 and 24. Okay, Wisdom of Solomon 6 and 24. If a brother can post that for me. You see? I'm gonna keep reading on in here. But this is why the Lord is rising up and dealing with his sons, man. Okay? Because the earth needs righteous rulership. And this is why we're getting the crash course on righteousness, man. Okay, and also a crash course of what not to do, okay, as rulers, man. You know, so this is a heavy thing that we're a part of, man. We're living in the transition of empire, man. And this that last transition because the earth is being transitioned to the rightful rulers, man. Okay, Esau, the last heathen to rule, and he's the worst to do it. Okay, this is Proverbs. I like this a Sirach 10 and 13 in the GNT. Still got Proverbs on my mind. But yeah, this Sirach 10 and 13 in GNT said, pride is like a fountain pouring out sin, and whoever persists in it will be full of wickedness. That is why the Lord brought terrible punishment on some people and completely destroyed them. Okay, and this devil, all right, he's the embodiment of pride. Okay, and that's why he's so full of wickedness. But what is it bringing? He's bringing punishment upon himself, man. He's going to be punished for this wickedness that he's doing, man. Okay, Esau don't get to just ride off into the sunset, okay, and establish a new world order, man. This man's going to be punished for this wickedness that he's doing, man. You see, it said, this is why the Lord brought terrible punishment on some people and completely destroyed them. The Lord has overthrown kings and put humbler, okay, a more humble people in their place, man. And that's one thing about the truth. The Lord requires us to humble down, man. You know, there's a certain level of humility that's required to rule the earth in righteousness, man. And this is why this captivity was meant to humble us down. Okay? Because of course, Jake is capable. You see? You know, Jake is capable, but then we had to get humility. We had to get humble in this captivity, man. Okay? Because Jake Ben had the ability, but we needed humility, man. You see? So the Lord humbled his sons down in this captivity, okay, and began to refine us, all right, because this is the last phase of refining, you know, before we're perfected like Yahushua. You see, Yahushua is perfected. When he comes back, he's going to perfect the rest of the sons of God, okay? He's also going to perfect what? The rest of the 1/3, men, women, and children. You know, begins with the first fruits, you know. There's going to be a perfected government. Yahushua knows first fruits. And then the rest of the men, women, and children are going to be perfected. Everyone in their order, man. You know, the sons and daughters of the Most High are going to be perfected, man. And that's the true power couple. Okay? An Israelite man, okay, under the order of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, okay? And the woman that's in order under that man, Israelite woman that's in order under that man, that's the true power couple. Because that has no ceiling. I know goddamn Jay-Z and Beyonce, all the wickedness they done. Net worth don't make you a power couple, man. Okay, $1 billion don't make you a power couple. Being popular selling a billion goddamn CDs and okay, selling out concerts. That don't make you a power couple. Ain't no power in it. Okay, only power they got is to mislead their own people. Okay, but now the true power couple, which they're dynamic. Okay, the true power dynamic. Okay, because it goes beyond a couple. Then with the Israelite man, which is going to have multiple women in the kingdom. Okay, but the true power dynamic is an Israelite man that's in order under Yahweh Bashim Shai, and the Israelite woman that's in order under that man. Okay, because through that is going to be what? A rulership. That's going to be the order of rulership in the earth forever. You see, there's a rulership coming behind it. All right, ain't no rulership coming behind no goddamn Cardi B and Offset and some degenerate, couple that Esau put in front of your face as if this is okay, the standard. It said the Lord has overthrown kings and put humbler people in their place. The Lord has pulled up nations by the roots and established humbler ones in their place. And see, Esau kingdom can be pulled up by the roots, which are the elites, man. Okay, they going into captivity, man. Like they gonna be, because it's the spirit, because they gonna be in those underground bunkers, man. It's gonna be like, hey, how Shai gonna come grab them niggas out there from under the ground, from the roots. Okay, because this is the roots of this man's empire. These elites, man, in the background, orchestrating all this wickedness in the earth, man. That's the root cause of wickedness in the earth and goddamn Amalekites, man. A lot of scripts say they're gonna be in those bunkers, man. So the Lord gonna uproot their ass, man. Pull this wickedness up from the roots. Okay, so the Lord have pulled up nations by the roots and established humbler ones in their place, man. That's a lesson in itself, man. Lord will. What's this around 10 and 15? Yeah, we might have to go into that by itself. What's it like? So it says the Lord, verse 16 said the Lord has overthrown empires and completely devastated their lands. He destroyed some so completely that they are not even remembered anymore. He destroyed some so completely they're not remembered anymore, man. That's going to be the kingdom of Esau. Edom is not going to be remembered anymore, man. The scriptures say that a brother can get that too. I think there's Isaiah 65 and 17, Baba Kashah. Okay. So let's go here. So this is the brother awake. All right, keep the faith. It's at Wisdom of Solomon 6 and 24. But the multitude of the wise is the welfare of the world, and a wise king is the upholding of his people. Okay, and that wise king gonna be Yahweh. Okay, and that's gonna benefit the earth. The earth is gonna benefit from righteous rulership. The heathens, they gotta go through 1,000 years of rigorous captivity. Okay, and that's going to be, and even that rigorous captivity, because it's going to be a discipline process, man. These nations are going to be disciplined in righteousness, excluding Esau, who's going to be destroyed after that 1,000 years, man. Okay, well, these nations will be disciplined in righteousness, man. They will never be part of the new covenant. They won't have the new bodies. All right, and there's always going to be a major gulf fixed between the chosen people, the Israelites, and these heathens, man. Okay, but there's going to be a righteous atmosphere in the earth, just like now, when someone operates in righteousness, they stand out in this society because this society is wicked. They're ridiculed for righteousness in this society. Righteousness is shameful in this society. Well, in the kingdom, wickedness is going to be shameful, man. Okay, it's going to be judged and it's going to be shameful. Okay, the things that's glorified and celebrated in this kingdom is going to be a shame in our kingdom, man. Okay. Okay. They're going to be looked down upon, man. You see? So it says, but the multitude of the wise is the welfare of the world, and the wise king is the upholding of the people, man. You know, and the king, the rulership of Yahushua is going to be beneficial beyond, you know, a whole nother level, man. You can't even fathom the benefits of the earth under the rulership of Yahushua, but it gives us something to look forward to. Okay. So go here, Wisdom of Solomon 6:25. It says, receive therefore instruction through my words, and this shall do you good. And this is why the Lord is grooming his sons for rulership. Hey, you brothers, understand, we're here for rulership, man. You know, we're here to be groomed for rulership and righteousness, man. That's why keep this the main thing. Because most of the things, you know, around us that ain't even finna matter soon. Okay? So keep the main thing, man. Understand the assignment and the mission more and more. Speaking to myself, you know, first and foremost, man, understanding the mission, why we're here, you know, more and more. Okay? So let's go here. Let's get this Isaiah 65:17. We'll end it here. This, brother students of Yahushua, Isaiah 65:17 said, for behold, I create a new heavens and a new earth. All right? New heavens and a new earth with new rulership. Okay? And the new earth, the refreshed earth, man. You know, because this fire is going to do some major cleansing in the earth. It says, and the former shall not be remembered, nor come into mind, man. And this form of filthy, wicked, okay, society not going to be remembered, man. You know, this society that this devil, okay, has established, okay, in complete wickedness and anti-Messiah, it's not going to be remembered, man. You see? So the Lord is ushering in a new rulership, a new heaven, a new rulership, a new earth, man, a refreshed earth, man. You know, because this one is this nigga, everybody's out of pocket. He's out of pocket. The earth out of whack. The Lord has to intervene and do a major reset, man. You know, it's so far gone. That's the only solution. Okay, is the Lord to intervene with major judgment and destruction and a righteous reset, man. That's the only solution, man. You know, so Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters, edify once again. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards young brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations, hopefully, shalom.